everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sally and this is my channel Secret Life of a Seamstress, where I talk all about sewing and making. I hope you're all doing really well today and thanks for joining me. So today's video is going to be looking back on 2023. So I'm going to be reviewing everything I made and just think about whether I enjoyed making those things, whether they fit into my wardrobe, how I felt about them, how much I've worn them over the past year, depending on when in the year I've made them, and any regrets or mistakes or things that went wrong along the way as well. I always really enjoy making these kind of videos and I always enjoy doing this kind of thinking. I think it's really interesting to look back at the last year and see what worked. And it also gives you a good starting point for going into the new year. And for me, I think it helps me to intentionally plan my makes for the year ahead. So I hope you enjoy this video. So I have a cup of tea, which I think might be needed because I have a lot to cover. So I had a good old look back at everything I made over the past year in 2023, and I've added up that last year I made 37 sewing makes, 5 knitting makes, and 3 crochet makes. So what I'm going to do is list now all of those makes, and I'm just going to pop in a very quick picture of each make. I'm not going to go into any detail about the makes, or I'll try and stop myself anyway, because I have already sort of talked about those makes in previous videos. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep this to a short, sharp, concise list so that you can see everything that I made. I am going to be reading this from my computer, please forgive me for that. But there was no way that I was going to memorise all of those 37 things, or 38 things, 37 things, off by heart. So, okay, let's get going. So the first thing I made last year was the Olo set by Named Clothing. I made a Darling Ranges dress, which was lengthened to midi length in Atelier Brunette viscose crepe. A Jarrah sweatshirt by Megan Nielsen in a green knit fabric from Sew Me Something. A South Bank sweater dress by Nina Lee in fleeceback sweatshirting from Minerva, and I made one of those in beige and in rust. I also made the Mandy boat tee by Tessuti Patterns in a cotton jersey from Minerva. I made the Spring jumpsuit by Sew Love Patterns in a polyester viscose fabric from Lily Fabrics. The Anthea blouse by Anna Allen in another Atelier Brunette viscose crepe, one of my favourite fabrics from last year. 2 Ogden camis by True Bias, one in another Atelier Brunette navy fabric and one Atelier Brunette fabric in cream. I made a short sleeve Agnes t-shirt in Pointel jersey from Minerva and another long sleeve Agnes in the same fabric but this time with long sleeves and a mustard colour. An Anthea / Sapphire jumpsuit hack by Tilly and the Buttons and Anna Allen Clothing, and the chambray for this was from Minerva. I made a Hayley robe by Tammy Handmade. A patina blouse by Friday Pattern Company, and this fabric was from Fabric Godmother. The Jessa shorts by Tilly and the Buttons. This was my first zip fly, so I'm very proud of those. I made an Eve dress hack by Sew Over It in Atelier Brunette double gauze. A Darling Ranges dress hack with frill sleeves and a tiered midi skirt. For a wedding, this fabric was from Minerva again. I made the Reef pyjamas by Megan Nielsen. I'd really wanted to make those for ages, so I'm glad I got those done. I made a Darling Ranges sleeveless midi hack by Megan Nielsen again, and this fabric again was from Minerva. It's just a cheap viscose, but I wore that quite a lot this summer. I made my Pippa dress by Sew Over It. That viscose was from Minerva as well. 2 Logan's jackets for summertime. The pattern is by Stylark, and the fabrics here, the stripy version was from Fabric Godmother. And I also made a plain white linen fabric version for holidays and cover-ups and things like that. A jumpsuit for my daughter. That was a really nice thing to make. That pattern is New Look 6444 and the fabric was from Hobbycraft. I made another Agnes t-shirt in a nice sort of mottled coloured jersey, I guess, ribbed jersey from Selfmade. I made a Nyx blouse by Closet Core Patterns in an art gallery rayon from Minerva. This was just a scrap that I managed to use up. The Peppermint spring shorts by Peppermint Magazine. This is a free pattern and the linen that I used was from Cloth Control in Brighton. A Marnie blouse by Tilly and the Buttons. That fabric was from Minerva. I love that blouse. Ilford jacket by Friday Pattern Company. That was in a Mind the Maker cotton twill. lyra dress, my monochrome lyra dress with a long straight skirt. That viscose was from Minerva as well. I also made the Hemlock Tee by Capstone Patterns. It was really nice to discover that pattern company this year. And the crepe that I used for that was from New Craft House. I made my coat, which was Simplicity S8796, and the fabric for that was from Lily Fabrics. I got that from the Knitting and Stitching show. I made my knitted skirt set, which was a combination of the Jara sweatshirt by Megan Nielsen and the Sew Over It Lana skirt, and the cable knit for that was by Minerva. I made a lounge set, which was a combination of the Jara sweatshirt and then the Hudson pants by True Bias. The fabric again was from Minerva. Minerva have been well used by me this year, obviously. I made my Maya Sotis dress hack by Deer and Doe. That was the last thing I made this year, and that fabric was from Fabric Godmother. And then in other things, I also made a cute little bunny doll by Minky and Friends Australia, and I also made a mouse and the clothes to go with that mouse. And that pattern was by Studio Seren Patterns, and you know how much I love those patterns. So in knitting, only 5 makes here. I knitted the Novice Sweater by Petite Knit. I also knitted quite a few of these little bunnies over Easter time. That pattern was by King Cole, and I used the King Cole yarn. I made the Rosa cardigan by Along Avec Anna in a Drops Cotton Merino. I made my Whitmore cardigan, which I'm wearing today. That pattern is by Taylor S Studio and the yarn is Rowan Kid Classic. And I also made a hat from a Rowan pattern using the leftover yarn from that Whitmore cardigan. In crochet, there were 3 things. I crocheted a blanket for my daughter, which was just a huge granny square. A blanket for our living room, which was another huge granny square, and I really enjoyed making both of those. And then towards the end of the year, I made a crochet basket, which was a kit from the Left Hookery, which I picked up from the Knitting and Stitching show and really enjoyed making. Oh, lots of makes there. And I did just realise that I left off 2 makes there that I don't think I ever photographed for Instagram. One was a stripy cocoa top by Tilly and the Buttons, and one was a stripe Agnes t-shirt, also by Tilly and the Buttons, and the fabric for that was from John Lewis that I picked up. So yeah, another 2 makes to sneak in there. But I just wanted to say for clarity as well that 8 of my sewing makes were actually made for collaborations. So they were like collaborations that I was paid for in some way, either by receiving gifted fabric or actually being paid to test the pattern and write it up. So yeah, a lot of makes there, but in comparison to last year, there are actually around 20 less makes. I think last year I really absolutely made tons. Let's go through the makes then, and I'm going to pick out my favourite makes. I think I've got about 6 favourite makes, and I want to talk about why they are my favourite and how they've worked and how they fitted into my wardrobe this year. So first of all, one of my favourites had to be the Anthea blouse by Anna Allen. So this was a pattern that I had on my radar for so long, and this year I finally got to make it up, and I have to say I get the hype about that pattern now. It's such a lovely pattern. Very quick and easy to sew actually, much quicker than I had expected it to be. I just love the design, I love the round neck, I love the button-up style of it, and I love, of course, the big puffy sleeves. And I feel as though there's some nice, delicate details to that pattern as well. I really enjoyed making it. I love a viscose make, as you know, and I do love making blouses, so it was really good to try that one and have it in my wardrobe. I also love the fabric that I've used. So this is an Atelier Brunette crepe fabric. I made a Darling Ranges dress out of this in midi length and I took it on holiday, and it was just so lovely and floaty to wear. So that's why I ended up buying the navy version of the fabric too. I think there's another colourway of this in sort of a green, like a bottle green, that I haven't yet brought, so you never know, I might end up buying that at some point. But yeah, I love the fabric, so I just really loved how that whole thing came together. It's a really good addition to my wardrobe. I like wearing, if we're ever going anywhere, like out for dinner or something, where you just need to be kind of smart casual, I like wearing like a nice smart top or blouse and just a pair of jeans. I think that's a really nice thing to wear in the summertime or springtime. It is a difficult one to wear a cardigan over, I would say, so I think it's definitely more a blouse for the warmer weather. You would struggle to sort of, well, I would anyway, because I hate feeling all bundled up like that, but I don't think I would wear a cardigan over it. But yeah, for sort of the warmer months, it's really nice with a pair of jeans. And obviously, if you're a skirt wearer, it would go really nicely with a skirt or even a pair of shorts or something. So I'm really pleased with that blouse. Another one of my absolute favourites from this year was the Sew Over It Pippa dress. I love this dress so much. I've still only made one of these. I made it sort of mid to late summer, I think. Took it on holiday, and it's so lovely. I really enjoyed wearing it, and it's a different kind of style for me in that it's a more fitted silhouette. I wasn't quite sure how I would get on with that silhouette, to be honest, because I'm so used to wearing gathered dresses that are gathered in like fit and flare dresses that are fitted at the top and then they sort of float out at the bottom. So I wasn't sure how I would feel in that dress. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think the fabric I've used for this one definitely plays a part in how I feel about this make as well. This viscose from Minerva, it was one of my Minerva makes, so I was gifted it. But it's just so pretty, isn't it? I absolutely love it, and I just feel so nice wearing it. It feels like the kind of dress that you really could dress up. You could wear this to a wedding, I think, with a pair of heels and, you know, just wear it really dressily, or wear it like I do with a pair of flat sandals or a pair of trainers or something, and it just works really well. So I can see lots more Pippa dresses in my future for next summer. Next, of course, I had to include this Marni blouse. It was absolutely one of my favourite makes from last year, and it actually went a little bit viral over on Instagram. Definitely went down well with you all, which I'm so grateful for, and even Tilly and the Buttersons shared it a lot and everything, and yeah, I was really grateful and quite blown away actually by how that blouse was received. So with the Marni blouse, this was absolutely one of my favourite makes to actually make. I so enjoyed sewing the pin tucks and doing all the little details. So the Marni blouse and dress is sewn in lots of different panels, so it really is quite an interesting make, and you really do have to take your time over it. There's quite a lot of accuracy there, and I just really enjoyed it. It makes you slow down and just makes you enjoy the process. So yeah, definitely one of my favourite makes, and quite a surprising one actually, especially because when the pattern first came out, I hope Tilly and the Buttons won't mind me saying, but I thought, oh my goodness, no, not even going there. Didn't like it at all. But yeah, as always, social media influencing took over, and I'm so glad that I had a go at that pattern and made it work for me. Don't think I would ever maybe wear the dress, but I think as a blouse I would definitely like to make another one of those this year. The only thing I would say about this blouse is that I'm really annoyed with myself because I wanted to cut it shorter and have it so that I could wear it out over jeans or tucked in. It ended up being quite long, and I knew I wanted to take some length off, but I actually took too much length off in the end. So it's kind of, the pattern itself is longer at the front and then slightly shorter at the back. And I ended up taking the same amount off all the way around the bottom of the hem, if that makes sense. So the back of the shirt is actually quite short now. So when I do wear it tucked in, which I mainly do, it does untuck itself quite a lot, which is quite annoying. So this year, or whenever I do make my next version, I'm definitely going to keep the length or not take so much off anyway. It was a really annoying thing that I did, and I'm just very angry about it, but it's not going to stop me wearing it either because I do love that blouse. My next favourite, and again, quite a surprising one in a way, it's my Ilford jacket by Friday Pattern Company. So again, a pattern that's kind of been on my radar for so very long. I thought, oh, I must make one of those one day, and never really got around to it until last year. And yeah, this has been one of my most worn makes of last year. I made it sort of September time, so I guess there's not a lot of year to go on, but it just fits into my wardrobe so well. I think the casual style of it and the fact that I've used a khaki, which pretty much goes with everything really, it just suits everything so well. I've got a reel on Instagram actually showing how I style this Ilford jacket in lots of different ways, so I'll either put that in here or link it down below, but you can find it on my Instagram account. But it was a good example of how I sort of wear it with so many different things. It goes over hoodies and sweatshirts, as well as it goes over dresses and things like that, and I just absolutely love it. So another one that I would really like to make again this year, I think I'd either like a denim one or like a wool or fleece checked one. I think either of those actually would fit in really well with my wardrobe. I'm quite a casual person really. So even if I do dress up in a dress or something, I normally have something that's kind of casual with it. So I'll either be wearing like flat chunky boots with a dress or a casual jacket like this one or something like that, because I just feel more myself that way. So yeah, that was a really good make and a very easy one too. Obviously the Ilford jacket does come with lots of different options, so you can make it as easy or more difficult as you want to, and there are so many different pocket options as well. Next, of course, as well, I had to include my coat. I am so proud of this. So again, this was one that I made at the end of the year. I think I finished it October, November time maybe. So it hasn't had a lot of wear yet, but I can tell already that this is going to fit in really well to my wardrobe. I was really in need of a smart coat, not necessarily something that I would wear every single day, but something that I could wear if ever I needed to be that little bit more smart. But again, I feel as though I just really enjoyed making this. It was one of those makes where, because it's a coat, there's a lot of details, a lot of things you need to do, a lot of pieces. It does just make you slow down and take your time. And I can honestly say that I didn't necessarily find any of this overly difficult, but I just really enjoyed the process and took my time, slowed down and tried to make every little bit that I was doing the best that it could be. I did mention that when I first finished it, I wasn't quite sure how I felt in it. And I definitely think that that is because it's not necessarily something that I will wear day to day. But as I'm wearing it more and as I'm kind of pairing it with more casual things in my wardrobes and things like that, it's definitely, I love it more, if you know what I mean. I'm losing my voice. I've talked so much that I'm losing my voice. Sorry if I sound a bit croaky. So the last of my favourites, I'm going to include another one that I made towards the end of the year, and that is my knitted skirt set. So I'm going to be honest with you and say that I actually haven't worn this out of the house yet, because, well, I don't really know why, because actually, probably because it feels a little bit on the dressy side. But also over Christmas, I did think about wearing it and realised that I didn't really have any tights or anything to wear underneath it. If I wear this out of the house, I would wear it with a pair of socks, nice warm, cosy socks, and then my long brown boots. But over Christmas time, we were spending a lot of time just sort of sitting around people's houses, and I thought, if I wear this skirt suit, I'm just going to be wearing it with a pair of socks and it's going to look a bit weird. That's a weird kind of thought process, but that was how my mind worked anyway. So I think that this outfit is going to be one that I'm going to bring out if I ever have anywhere fancy to go, like if we ever go up to London or maybe like a theatre trip or something like that again next year or this year. It's definitely going to be something that I wear then. But also, I will say that this make was just one of those makes that was really, really fun to do. And even if I don't wear it that much, I just, again, enjoyed the process. I enjoyed what I was doing. Yeah, I really enjoyed the fact that I was sewing it inspired by a high street outfit. I just wanted to see if I could do it. And then I just really hoped that it would help people to see how you can use these really easy beginner patterns and sew yourself an outfit inspired by something that you've seen on the high street that might be out of your price range or whatever, because sewing is just really fun and a brilliant hobby. It's funny that my last few favourites are all from the end of the year, isn't it? Okay, so another favourite, this one in knitting, is actually what I'm wearing, and that is my Whitmore cardigan by Taylor S Studios. I'm so pleased with how this turned out. It was just a joy to knit. I absolutely love knitting the Whitmore pattern. This is my second version of the cardigan. The lace is just so lovely to knit. I really enjoy it. Because it was my second time doing it, I did find that I picked up the repetition of the lace much more quickly, and it wasn't so difficult to follow this time. It was really enjoyable. I made the cropped version this time, and I also made the bishop sleeves, which are slightly more poofy around the wrist. And because it's in a nice neutral grey, I feel so much more comfortable wearing this. I feel as though it fits in nicely to other things in my wardrobe, such as the Ogden cami that I'm wearing it with today. So yeah, I'm really pleased to have another Whitmore cardigan in my wardrobe. So along with favourites, of course, comes with any regrets or mistakes or errors that I've made along the way, or things that I've found haven't really worked for me. Last year, I made a whole video of my I think it was 5 or 6 worst makes from last year. And I had planned to do a similar video this year. But when I went back over my makes, there was only one make that I think was not right, which is a really, really good result. And I was quite surprised at myself, actually. I was surprised to realise that actually there was only one thing that I wasn't happy with. And that was the Stellan tee by French Navy now. So again, a t-shirt pattern that I'd wanted to try for ages. I made this as one of my Minerva makes, but I have to say, something about this t-shirt just does not work for me. I think I made the smallest size and I found as though the neckline of it was just too tight. I don't know if the neckband pattern piece is too small. I don't know if I cut it wrong. I don't know if I sized wrongly or whatever, but it just doesn't fit me very well. I also found that it kind of pulled around the shoulders a little bit as well, and I just didn't feel comfortable wearing it at all. So I haven't worn that t-shirt, I have to say. I think I've worn it a couple of times underneath things, but I haven't worn it out, if you know what I mean. And I kept meaning to try another version from a different fabric, because this one was sewn from a cotton jersey, and I did wonder whether that was part of the reason, because cotton jersey is often a little bit more sturdy and doesn't give you that drape. So maybe I'll try and make another one from a more drapey fabric, or maybe I will just leave that pattern and chalk it up as one that doesn't really work for me. But either way, yeah, that was my only real regret, other than, you might remember I had an absolute disaster when I was trying to make a South Bank top by Nina Lee Patterns. I tried to make it from a ribbed jersey. It was absolutely awful, didn't work at all, and ended up in the bin, or the fabric bin. So that was another disaster, but it didn't actually end up finished because I realised when I was trying it on along the way that it just wasn't going to work. So that was another disaster I had. But other than that, yeah, that was really the only two things that I really felt didn't work for me this year, which is quite amazing. So in summary, let's just sum up how I felt about last year. So first of all, yeah, I'm really pleased that I did make less, and I do feel as though I made lots of layering pieces and things that would just work in my wardrobe, like lots of Ogden camis, Agnes t-shirts and things like that. More sort of wardrobe staples, I guess, and things that are going to work around things I already had. So I'm really pleased about that. In terms of regrets, yeah, I'm really glad that I didn't have many regrets, but I would say that maybe that is because I was playing it safe a little bit last year. When I looked back, there weren't a lot of patterns that I felt really challenged me. I think the only two that did were probably the Jessa shorts, because they included the zip fly and also probably the coat, although all of the techniques in that coat I had done before, so I didn't find it particularly difficult, even though it was quite an involved make, if you know what I mean. So I do think that that's possibly why I didn't have many regrets or mistakes this year, because I was sticking to patterns that I knew I loved and I knew that worked well. And more than trying new things, I think I was trying to make more of what I knew worked, but in better fabrics. So more neutral tones, more colours that I knew would suit me better, and just trying to make things that worked with what I already had. Another thing that I've really found is that I am much better at sewing for summer than I am for winter. This winter, I didn't really sew a lot at all, I don't think, but I'm really finding that actually sewing for winter is quite difficult for me, because I tend to wear a lot of shop bought knitwear. And when it's really cold and I want to reach for clothes, I reach for my knitwear, and I reach for shop bought knitwear because that's what I like. And I'm not going to beat myself up about that anymore. Obviously I do knit, so I can make my own knitwear, but I'm definitely not going to be able to churn it out at the rate that I churn out sewing makes, because knitting takes much longer. So I think one of the things that I have resolved from last year is that I'm not going to beat myself up about that. If I want to buy and wear ready to wear knitwear, then I'm just going to do that and not feel bad about it. And even if I wear shop bought stuff in my YouTube videos, then so be it. Hopefully you guys won't mind. But I think what I need to do more in the winter is concentrate more on staple pieces like outerwear, like jackets and shackets and coats. maybe jeans if I can master that this year, but not be making lots of sweatshirts and things, and sort of thinner dresses that I'm just not going to wear because it's just not me. So I think that's definitely something else that I found this year. The summer I find so easy because I love to sew blouses, I love to sew floaty dresses and things like that. In the winter, those things just don't work too well for me. Okay, so that concludes my roundup of last year. I hope that's been interesting. It definitely has been interesting to me, and I've really enjoyed making this video and going back over last year and just seeing what I made and what worked and what didn't. I'm getting very croaky now. I've talked so much. I've actually been filming a couple of videos like all in one go, so I think my voice has just run out. I think I need to stop now and just have a little drink and a rest. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me again today. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe for more sewing and handmade content. I upload videos every Sunday morning. You can also follow me over on Instagram as well for more day-to-day photos and behind the scenes stuff. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.